Hi Warriors, I'm Mr. H and we're here in the Mattawa Elementary Greenhouse in the Wahluke Learning Garden, and I'm going to show you how to transplant these cherry tomato plants. So these are a golden cherry tomato plant called a gold nugget, and we're going to transplant it today into a raised bed in the greenhouse. So the first thing you want to do is to make yourself a nice hole that's about twice as large as the pot that your tomato is coming in. This is a 4-inch pot, so we're going to make an 8-inch hole. And I'm using a trowel to make this hole, and I'm making it deeper than the pot so that the roots for this plant have nice soft soil to grow into. So I'm going to make sure that my hole is deep enough and wide enough, which it is. And then I'm going to take some fertilizer. This is all-purpose garden fertilizer that you could find at Marty's. And I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of fertilizer for each tomato plant. Using my trowel, not my fingers, I'm going to stir this fertilizer into the soil. And then I'm going to take some water and put some water in the bottom of the hole. So now that I have a place for my tomato plant, I'm going to take it out of the pot, and I'm going to do that very gently. So I'll take my hands and I'll squeeze each of the 4 sides of the pot and loosen the soil, and then I'll take my hand with the plant between my fingers and I'll turn the pot over. And then I'll place the plant down into the hole that I've prepared. After that, I'll take the soil that I removed from the hole and place it back around the tomato. And it's okay if it's buried a little too deep, because tomatoes will make roots out of their stem if it's touching the soil. So now that I have the tomato in the ground, I'm going to make sure that it's well watered, which means watering for 30 seconds. Okay? And then these tomatoes are going to get big, so if you have a tomato cage to put around them, this will help the tomato grow larger and help you have more tomatoes. So now we're going to show you how to plant a tomato into a pot.
Hi Warriors, we're here today in the Wahluke Learning Garden to talk again about how to transplant our little cherry tomato plants, this time not into the ground but into a planter. We're going to be using one of these larger raised planters that we have here in the garden, but you could plant a tomato plant into any larger size container that you might have to have around your house. 5-gallon bucket would work. Old planter that maybe you have around the house might work. Something that's maybe this small though might be a little bit too small for what we're going to need to grow that tomato in. All right, so once you've got your planter selected, it's going to be the same rule as in the ground. We're going to have a 4-inch pot. That means we're going to need to make an 8-inch hole in the dirt. So you're going to take your trowel and you're going to make that 8-inch hole in the dirt for your tomato plant to have a home. Just like in the ground, if you have some fertilizer that you can sprinkle into the bottom, awesome. If you don't, you just put it in the ground anyway. Sprinkle a little bit of that fertilizer down in there. I think 2 tablespoons is going to be adequate. Take your tomato plant. Again, you're going to squeeze the sides to kind of loosen up that dirt and any roots that are inside. Put the plant in between your fingers, turn it upside down, and get the plant. Make sure you save your container. Plant the plant at the bottom of your hole. Gently cover it up with the dirt. Don't mind if you cover up some of the stem, because our friend, the other Mr. H, told us that more roots are going to grow out of it. Once we've got it into the ground, we need to make sure that it's got enough water. So we need to water it for how long, warriors? 30 seconds, right? So here's what we're going to do. Water our plant for 30 seconds. The neat thing about putting your tomatoes into a planter is that you can move them around your yard as the sun changes seasonally, so that they're always in the sunniest place. If you're going to plant them in the ground, you got to make sure that you pick a really, really sunny spot, because tomatoes love the sun. Once you've got it in the ground, just like whether it's in the planter or in the ground of a garden, we're going to want to use a tomato cage if you've got one. If you don't have a tomato cage, you could use old sticks and twine. You could use posts and zip ties. You could get creative and use some of the materials around your house to help give that tomato plant the structure it's going to need to help, or the supports that it's going to need to help it grow really bushy and produce a lot of fruit for you and your family to eat during the season. All right, so I hope you enjoy your tomato plant. And again, please share some photos of your plants in the ground or the fruit that you make with us on the social media here for the school district. Thank you.